All right. Well, here we are, folks. Trying to remember what episode of Elk Talk Live we're on. I'm going to go with episode 63. Woo! Episode 63 of Elk Talk Live. Brought to you by Bowtech, by Leupold, by Onyx Maps, Go Hunt, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, Tight Spot, Ripcord, and Black Gold. And if you want to use promo code RANDY, that's going to save you 20% on Onyx Maps. It's going to get you $50 of store credit at Go Hunt when you sign up for the Insider. And it's going to save you 15% on all the really cool hunting calls out there at Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. So, you need to remember Colorado's elk deadline. If you want to hunt elk in Colorado this year, at least in one of the limited entry draws, the deadline is April 2nd. Yeah. Kyler, when's April 2nd? Next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Don't miss it, folks. Don't miss it. Oh, a lot of people asking, when you coming to Oregon? When you come? Oh, yeah, Dave just said, hey, Randy, I used your promo code for 20% off an Orion cooler. Yeah, that promo code works there, too. Wait, you might want to turn your volume off there, Kyler. We got a production guy he's got the volume going in the background. But what do we got for questions today? How do I get to these questions? I remembered last week. How did I do that? Oh, here we go. Open the chat box. Nobody's chatting. Join chat. It says I'm... All right. Here we go. Jeff says, does promo code Randy work at Mystery Ranch? No, it doesn't. But if you buy your Mystery Ranch pack from Go Hunt out at their store and use promo code Randy, they'll give you 10% off when you check out on anything other than optics. So there you go. It's kind of a way to use promo code Randy. Brett, hey Randy, we're over here in the flooding of eastern Montana. Man, I'm sorry to hear that, guys. We got big flood warnings for the Yellowstone River just right over the hill here for the next 2 or 3 days, I think. Dang, not good. We've got so much snow that if it all melts at one time, we're going to be dog paddling to work. No doubt about it. All right. Anyone got any Colorado hunting questions today? Didn't we just... No, what was the video we did the other day? Nevada.
Yep.
Yeah, because Nevada's coming up on April 29th. So you got, what, a month? Yeah, a little over a month to get ready with Nevada. But Colorado is one of those great places. We talked about it last week. That if you don't draw in the limited entry draw, it's the place to go as a leftover option. You can get over-the-counter tags for archery and for the second and third rifle seasons. In, I think, 90 units, you're allowed to get that over-the-counter tag. And I've done it 4 times. One time my brother shot a tree. One time when he should have hit the elk. One time I shot an elk. Another time I should have shot an elk. I'm going to blame that on the camera guy because he couldn't pull all those camera cables through the oaks quick enough. I don't know what happened. The other time it was just so super warm. We ended up without one. So I'll blame that on the weatherman. See, here's how it works when you produce content like we do. The very first thing you do is you blame it on the camera guy. And if the camera guy isn't around, you can't blame it on him, you blame it on wolves. And if there aren't any wolves around, then you blame it on the weather guy or somebody else. So, all right, here we go. Randy, and this is Dave. If you had to draw one limited entry elk tag in Montana with 10 plus bonus points, which unit would you put in for? I think 99% of Montanans would say the bear's paw or the elk horns. So it's pretty easy to find out. Just go look at the draw odds, and the 2 units that have the worst draw odds in Montana are the elk horns unit 380 and the bear's paw, I think 698 or something like that. So. Let's see. David asks, when shooting with glasses, anyone have trouble with the scope being blurry? I have to take my glasses off to get a good sight picture. I've not had that, David. I used to wear glasses, then I got LASIK surgery, and I don't have that right now, but, I'm really not sure. If anyone has an answer to that, chime in here, because that's not one I've encountered. Let's see. Someone asked a question. Do you see any point in applying for non-resident preference points in Wyoming? Yes, do that. Wyoming is one of those states. Wyoming and Arizona are my two favorite states to build points because your chance of getting a high quality hunt with 5, 6 points are really high. So I would do that. Kim says, watching from Sitka, Alaska. Hey, cool, Kim. Say hi to my cousin Corey. I don't know if you'll see him. Let's see. Brett says, you're encouraging me to lose weight and be a better hunter. I got 100 pounds to lose, got my archery license this year. I'm ready to try this. Your podcasts have pushed me to do that. Thanks for being an inspiration. Well, thanks for doing it, Brett. I drive a desk for a living, and this time of year, it's really hard for me to get out from behind the desk. I'm a tax accountant, and then this is the time of year where we do all this stuff, and the struggle's real. I mean, I get it, and I admire anybody who can say, you know what, I'm getting up every day, I'm going to do this, I'm going to watch what I eat, my intake, I'm going to control, I'm going to increase my exercise. Even right now, I feel like a slug. Just to go out and do something physical is like, man, that wore me out. Whereas when I'm in hunting shape come August, I wouldn't even think twice about it, but good luck with that. I hope you keep doing it. Josh wants to know, did I get drawn in Arizona? Not this year, and I applied in some really easy units. I don't know. Here I'm doing this stuff telling you, this is how you draw in Arizona, do this. Go check out the draw odds on Go Hunt, and your odds will be really improved. I do all that, and then I can't get a lucky break. But Arizona's been really good to me, so I'm not going to complain. Rob asks, in the post rut, is there an elevation range you target to find bulls in a sanctuary? Not by elevation. So Rob brings up a really good point. So we got early season, we got pre-rut, we got peak rut, and then we got the hardest season of all, post rut. So he asks, is there an elevation band that I go to for sanctuaries? Not necessarily. Sometimes if there's a lot of early snow, it'll bring elk down to a certain elevation. But I'm looking for sanctuaries that are a function of distance because people don't want to go that far from the road, or topography, steep, canyons, mountains. And it doesn't have to be 2,000 vertical feet steep. There are places we hunt where it's only about 400 or 500 vertical feet, really steep. And people just say, I don't want to go there. Those are the kind of places we go. That's not really based on an elevation. It's just based on how the landscape lays out. Matt asks, Randy, on your show, I see you put electrical tape on the end of your barrel during rainy weather. Any effect it had on your firearm bullet flight if you forgot to take it off before the shot? Not to my knowledge. For years, I was afraid of that same thing. So I would go out to the range, and I'd have a little piece of black electrical tape, and I'd shoot, and my groups were identical. So, I mean, it'd be great if I could use it as an excuse, so that, I missed because I had tape over the end of my barrel, but I've tried it enough times that that wouldn't be a good excuse. So, let's see. For a good antelope hunt in Wyoming, how many points should I build up? Fish and Game said it'll only be 1. I hunt, and it depends. So Wyoming has the special draw, which is more expensive, and the regular draw, which is less expensive. And it's the same tag, it's just in the special draw, usually, not always, usually your draw odds are better. So I always go in the special draw. In the areas I hunt, I can usually draw with 1 or 2 points, and they're good units. So certainly 3 points will get you a really good unit. So. Do I soak my clothes in scent? Nope. Western hunting, I believe that every one of those spray down scent control things is a waste of money. Save your money for tags and other gear that's going to make a difference. That's my thought. Marty says, I try to use promo codes everywhere. O'Reilly Auto Parts, Walmart, Texas Road Hunt. No luck so far. Oh, gosh. Jess says, hi, Randy. My hunting party was drawn for a late rifle tag in Unit 27 in Arizona. I'm from Idaho, looking for tips. Whew. Lucky dog. That's a good hunt. That's a really good hunt. There's a lot of sanctuary in Unit 27. There's a lot of burns there. The population of elk is doing great. I think if you hunt them the same way you would in Idaho in a post-rut or late season mode, you're going to find lots of elk. So I wouldn't, yeah, obviously do your e-scouting and your research, but you're going to find elk. I have no doubt about it. Let's see. What do you recommend for archery hunting heavy timber when glassing is no good and elk aren't talking, like in Idaho? Jake, I say in the rut when it's the heavy timber and they're in the rut, I just move and I move and I move and I move. And if they're not in the rut and it's heavy timber, I move and I move until I get someplace where I can glass straight across a canyon or straight to another ridge or down in a hole. It's tough. How many times have I said on this Elk Talk Live that northern Idaho probably is the hardest place I can think of that I've ever hunted or looked at hunting to kill an elk on public land? Now, I'm sure all of you who live on the far Pacific coast who hunt Roosevelts are going to say, Randy, you have no idea. You're right. I'm sure it's even thicker there, but that is just tough hunting. I wish I could tell you there's a magic solution to it in a post-rut. That's why Idaho can have general tags in the post-rut period, because it's just tough hunting. And the post-rut is the hardest time to kill an elk. So it's not by accident that that's when they allow the general season in Idaho. Let's see. Alex asks, does Go Hunt break out using 3 points in the Wyoming special draw? Yes, it does. If I have 3 points, I don't mind paying more if you think 3 points can get a decent Wyoming zone. For antelope, for sure. It definitely will. Let's see. Do you use adjustable scopes? Yep, I do. I use Leupold's CDS system, called CDS stands for Custom Dial System. I've been using it since they came out with it. I'm guessing getting close to 10 years now. It takes all the guesswork out of it, because think about it, we have on every hunt, not every hunt, but close to every hunt, we have a guest hunter. And they're using a rifle that I've set up. It's not their rifle. And I hand it to them and say, here, you got to use this. And that's just part of how it works when you're producing content like we do. Well, if they get out there and it's a new rifle and they say, hey, you got to hold over by 8 inches, that's really difficult if it's not your setup. So the beauty of the custom dial system is, I call it click, dial, shoot. That's what I say CDS stands for, but it's really custom dial system. Click your rangefinder, get a range, spin the dial to whatever the range is and tell the person hold dead on. No holdover, none of that. Hold dead on. And at all normal hunting ranges, there's nothing faster and easier and more efficient for that I can think of. Let's see. John says, regarding Colorado, if I apply, I can draw a limited entry deer tag, but the dates coincide with other states. Should I take my chances? I would. Colorado's got the best mule deer hunting. Oh, man. Whew. If you are going to apply for elk in Colorado, get a point for deer for sure. I mean, it's only an extra $9, I think, once you buy the small game license and all that other stuff. Yeah, I would definitely do that. Dustin says, hey Randy, my dad and I drew the Arizona Early Archery Unit 70 Kachina Peaks hunt. I believe that you filmed in there. Yes, we did. My plan is to hunt that burn area that you did. If you had that hunt again, would you do anything different? I would get up there and scout more. There's not a lot of water up high in that unit. If it's a dry year, I think most of the elk are going to be lower. So you go way up, you gain all that elevation, and there's really about 2 water sources up on mostly the east side and the south side. and you're going to have a lot of company. When we were there was a turkey hunter with a blind at that water source. There were bear hunters, cow elk hunters. It was a busy place because there's such little water that if you build your plan around that, expect company is what I'd say. Let's see. Oh boy, we got all kinds of them. Holy smokes. Spring Bear and the Bob Marshall, you coming with? No, I won't be. I am so busy in May this year. A bunch of my friends, we have a bunch of friends who do a spring bear hunt up in northwest Montana, and I get invited every year. And I always say, all right, this year I'm going to make it, or next year I'm going to make it. And my May ends up being way too busy. I got nieces graduating. I got all kinds of things. My wife has booked a week of walleye fishing. I got some sponsors coming to town. We got to do 4 or 5 days of filming there. My spring bear hunt, and I'm just going to block May out and say, you people quit deciding to mess up my May. I want to do more spring bear hunting. So let's see. With the snowpack in Montana, would you start spring bear hunting up high or down low? I'd start probably down lower, and I'd be hunting south-facing slopes because those are going to clear first. And that's where the green is going to be. They might go around the slope and bed and cool off, but you're going to see a lot of activity on those first south-facing slopes. And as the snow line is moving up, as it's melting, it'll go up. You'll see that really green stuff right there where you see patches of snow, patches of green. My experience is I see a lot of bears in spots like this. Best 4x4 pickup truck. I've bought 5 Nissan Titans out of my own pocket, so I guess that would answer that question. And right now, the one I'm driving is Nissan loaned to me and said, hey, Randy, go beat this one up, see what you can do to it, and it is running like a champ. I almost flooded it out in Utah, crossed a great big flooded canyon, and somehow made it across the other side towing a little llama trailer. I was impressed. Cheapest non-resident elk hunt in the West would be a cow elk hunt in Colorado. It's close to a lot of places. If you're coming from the Midwest or the East, Colorado's a cheap, easy destination. And if you want to step up for a couple $100 extra, you can do a bull elk hunt instead of a cow elk hunt. So let's see. I'm doing a 5-day pack-in this year. You finally convinced me. Uh-oh, not responsible. It's only been a 2-year decision. I'm going with the Mystery Ranch Metcalf. Lou, you're going to be happy with that. That's pretty much what I use on my 5-day hunts. I have a Marshall. I have the new Beartooth 80. If I was going in with lots of gear for a 5-day hunt, probably would lean toward a Marshall. Or towards the new Beartooth 80 would be the one I'd take. We did Alaska for 10 days backpack sheep hunt last year, and that was my first trip with the Beartooth 80. Very impressive. Overall total versatility, I don't know how you beat the Metcalf. That's why you see me and our crew using it so much. Let's see. Someone's giving me a wrestling name, Randy the Slug Newberg. Your grandma would be proud. Eric asks, Randy, how do I choose an area to set up camp in the mountains of Colorado during September? I'm concerned about thermals. That's a good thing to be concerned about. Corey Jacobson and I on our Elk Talk podcast, we did an entire podcast episode about selecting a camp. Base camp versus backcountry camp. If a backcountry camp, where to set up, we address all that. There's a lot that goes into that. Decisions, water availability, hunting pressure, all that. Go to the elktalkpodcast.com and you can listen to that podcast. I think it's about an hour and a half of just diving deep into that topic. When e-scouting, what is something that jumps out at you that doesn't for the regular guy? Carson asked that. I don't know. I would say with e-scouting. So we did the whole e-scouting series, 12 episodes we did with OnX last summer. And this summer, we're going to jump into more of that. We're going to use those 12 episodes as our base, but we're going to do more of it. And we get a lot of people who will send me a pin from their onX and say, hey, I want to share this with you. What do you think of this spot? And a lot of times, the most common thing I see is everybody wants to focus on roadless areas and sanctuary, which is great in the last 2 seasons, the late season and the post-rut. But if you're in one of the 3 seasons, sanctuary and these roadless backcountry areas are not the priority need. So I'd say the most common thing is people just think sanctuary, got to go way back, way back, way back. Well, in the peak rut, that's not necessarily the case. Even in the pre-rut, that's not the case. So I don't know if that's something that I'd say jumps out. I've spent so many years looking at contour maps and everything else. I can kind of look at topo lines and whether they're on the north side, northeast side, the south side, the west side. And I've been doing it for so long, I can kind of look at that and almost say, all right, there's a little bench in there. There's going to be elk using that as their bedding area. And this is another, so this gets into elk research, right? We talk about you need to know the animal you're hunting, know about elk. Well, elk do not like to bed on anything that's more than a 20-degree slope. The studies show that. So instantly my mind is, all right, I need a flatter spot. It doesn't have to be huge, but if it's like this the whole way up the mountain, elk are not going to bed where it's really steep like that. They're going to snoop around and they're going to find some little flatter spot. So I'm looking at these maps, looking at my onX, and now that you can get the hybrid that has both the satellite and the topos, I'm just looking at that and instantly my eyes are going to where are these bedding spots. I also know that elk like to bed, if they're feeding towards the top, they like to bed in the top third coming down the slope, okay? If I'm looking for places they're gonna bed and then go feed and they're gonna do that pattern, I'm not looking way down slope. I'm not looking at mid slope. I'm looking at the top third. And again, these are just things that intuitively come to me after years of failure. I can't even tell you how many mistakes I've made. I'm so thankful that I made every stupid mistake in the world. Not every, but I made so many stupid mistakes that I had to really struggle. And I learned so much from all those failures because elk hunting doesn't come easy to me. It never did come easy. I got to work at it. I got to be thinking all the time. And the failures have forced me that when I leave the truck, my mind, I've blocked out everything. I don't care about the appointment I missed at work. I don't care about the football game. I don't care about anything. My mind is just thinking nonstop. Elk, elk, elk. What is that elk doing today? That elk has to stay alive today. What's he gonna do to help him think he's gonna stay alive? That's how focused I am when I'm out elk hunting. And I have to be that way because it doesn't come to me easily or naturally. I have to have that mindset. So I don't know if that answers the question of what does a new person see that maybe someone who's been doing it as long as I have sees differently. But I really, those are some things that come to mind for me. Randy, first elk hunt, Bob Marshall unit, 280. Any advice? I've never hunted there. I wish I could give you some advice. If you're near one of the main trails, expect a lot of company. There's a lot of people who hunt the Bob, they call it, by horse. The folks in Augusta, Choteau, Great Falls, Lincoln. If you're going on foot, you're going to have a lot of company. So, let's see. Is there a specific call you will do in the post-rut to get the elk moving? Charles asked. No, I don't. And Corey Jacobson and I have talked about this. I hardly call at all in the post-rut. I think these bulls are off in sanctuary mode, at least on the public land, high-pressure areas where I'm hunting them. October 15th and later, in most instances, they're in sanctuary mode. Now, if I drew a limited entry tag and there hasn't been a ton of pressure, then maybe they're still bugling and they're still with the cows to some degree, and I don't have to worry quite as much about that, and calling might work. But as a general rule, I really don't do much at that time of year. What accessories are essential for a hunting truck? Andy asks. We did a whole video out there on our YouTube channel. It's way too long to answer all that here. Luke asks, when's the muskrat video coming out? Kyler, when's that rolling out? Monday? Next Monday we got 5 days of muskrat trapping, and then 4 days of trapping and 1 day of eating muskrat tacos. How was it, Kyler?
It was pretty good.
It was good. He says, it was pretty good. I thought it was great. I thought it was really good. But I'm probably not all there, so. How many feet of snow before elk move down? McCall, Idaho can have a lot in the late season. Yeah. You'd be surprised how much snow it takes to push a bull elk off the mountain. A lot. But that said, cold is as much of a contributor to their migration as is snow. Because if you got lots of snow, but it's soft, fluffy stuff, they'll be raking through that. Or they'll find places where the wind has blown it off, and they'll hang there until hunting season's over. You throw in some 15, 20 below nights, and maybe put a little glaze on that, and it doesn't take nearly as much snow under those conditions as if it's warmer but deep snow. I'd rather have colder temperatures and less snow than lots of snow and warm temperatures, because that's going to get the elk moving better than super cold is going to get elk moving more than just snow. So, let's see. Someone wants to know, what do I use as an emergency contact device? We have it sitting around here somewhere. I have an InReach. I don't know. It's laying around here somewhere. That's what I use. Best mule deer hunting in Montana. Most of our best units are on a draw, and I would say even if you draw the limited entry units in Montana, you're probably going to have better mule deer hunting on a general tag in Wyoming if you're a resident, or one of the region tags in Wyoming if you're a non-resident. Idaho's general mule deer hunting is better than Montana's limited entry mule deer hunting. Nevada and Colorado, if you draw one of their limited entry tags, probably the lowest quality units are going to be as good as our best units in Montana. So I love one of the things we've had this winter and the winter prior were killer winters in southeast Montana. I love southeast Montana. I don't go there thinking I'm going to shoot big bucks. I'm going to see deer. But I didn't hunt there last year for two reasons. One, I didn't even plan on hunting there because it had been such a terrible winter. And I've been hunting over there for 20-some years, and you get these really bad winters, and it just knocks the numbers way down. And so I usually give it a break for a few years. Well, now we had another tough winter, not as tough over there as it was the prior year. Really tough here where we live in southwest Montana. I don't know. If I was mule deer hunting, I would probably go to a different state. I'd probably go to Idaho. It's over the counter. It's better hunting than here. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't want you to come here with expectations in Montana and have unmet expectations. So just trying to be honest about that. Any plans for waterfowl hunts? Nope. My waterfowl hunting is my time without cameras. I love waterfowl hunting. Do it whenever I can. My son and I, we do it a lot, but we don't film it. So sorry about that. But it's the one thing that there's times I need no cameras. So. Kevin says, I'm in my 20s. I can quit my job tomorrow and come work for you and go on adventures. Question is, what camera guy do I have to arm wrestle to land that spot? I don't know. Right now we're not hiring, but if Kyler gets mad and quits, we'll be hiring tomorrow. So, or if Dan quits or Marcus quits. I'm not an easy guy to work for. So, all right. David says, all right, Randy, you answer a lot of truck questions. How many spare tires do you take into the woods? 2. I never go anywhere without 2 spare tires. I go get a new truck. The very first thing I do is I take those wussy tires off. And I take them down to my friends here at Tire-Rama and say, put some real tires on this thing. Because the tires that you get at a dealership when you get a brand new truck are 4-ply tires. I don't know how many times I've been out in the woods, especially in places like Arizona, New Mexico, Wyoming. You guys have roads that just eat up tires. Nevada. And here's some guy. He got a flat right away. He's like, man, brand new truck. And his spare went flat. He is like dead in the water. I've had it happen so many times. Get good tires and then make sure you have 2 spares. So, you heard it here. Randy, when are you going to work with OnX to develop a grouse layer? Well, I kind of have one, but I'm not going to tell people how you use it. How did the Cooper tires hold up over this season? Man, I tell you what, I'm impressed. I've used Cooper tires for a long time. And every time I go in, I look for other tires, whether it's BF Goodrich or Yokohama or whatever. There's a lot of good tires out there. For what I do when I hunt in areas that this time of year got a lot of snow, got a lot of ice, the Coopers have, when you read all the research about the components the tires are made out of, the rubber and everything else, the Coopers rate really high. Well, the guys down at Tire-Rama said, Randy, you really ought to try these AT3s in an XLT. And I did, and man, I'm super impressed with that. Super impressed. It performed great off-road, it performed great in the mud, great in the snow. So, Randy, what power binos do you use, 8x42 or 10x42? Yes. I have both. I used Leupold has the new BX5s. I have 8s and 10s, love them both. What is your thought on Montana archery season for a week-long hunt this coming season, first or second week? I'd come the second week, but some people would say, no, be there the first week. The locals kind of get it out of their system the first week, especially when it starts late. So this year it starts September 7th. So the locals are just going to be grinding at the bit like, oh man, I got to get out there. So that first week this year is going to be pretty busy. I would come I'd get, so let's see, if it opens on the 7th, the 14th is a Saturday, the 15th is a Sunday. I'd get here on the 14th or 15th, and then I'd hunt the 16th through the 20th. And then I wouldn't have nearly as much pressure. I'd be right in the peak of the rut. So, have you ever heard a bull elk call like a cow elk? Yeah, I have. Mike says, muskrat. Mike was over here for muskrats. Kyle says, Randy, Southwest Colorado, over-the-counter archery, first time planning on backpack hunting. What do you suggest for clothing? If you're going in the early part of the archery season, I would use stuff that's very breathable, and then I'd bring a very lightweight, we call them puffy layers, and make sure you bring some sort of moisture barrier. Southwest Colorado gets a monsoon season in early September that there's times you could get rained on every day. Everyone who watches our stuff knows that I use Sitka gear, and Sitka has a bunch of options for that. They have the Ascent series. Gosh, they got so many good pieces that it just depends on what I think the weather's going to be when I'm there. And whatever it is, it's always layers and layers. Taking layers off and on is the best way to thermoregulate, whether it's hot or whether it's cold. And in Southwest Colorado, you're going to be hunting over 10,000 feet. It can get cold that night, and you can get some crazy weather. So don't think it's going to be like out on the plains of Kansas or something. It's going to be weird. Let's see, Randy, how old was your son when you first took him with you on a big game hunt? He was 2. Right here in Montana, over in the crazy mountains, we shot a deer. And the week before that, we'd been over north of Roundup and we shot an antelope. And then the next year, when he was 3, we went to southeast Montana. And this is one of the funnest hunts. We're driving down the road, sign up at the block management place. The rancher says, yeah, you can shoot any deer you see, but I don't think you're going to see any. There's been a lot of hunters. And we drive out his driveway, go around the little corner on the county road, and there's a nice 4x4 about, well, for me, at that time in my life, I'm like, that's a big one. And it was maybe 21, 22 inches. I'm like, whoa, look at that deer. And Matthew says, Dad, that's a whopper, shoot him. So we went and parked the truck. I went on a great big stock, and I parked the truck where he could watch me do the big stock up above him, and I shot it. So he was 3 at that time. I still remember his little legs running through the tall grass, falling down, trying to get to where that deer had died. So yeah, 2. But I made sure it was fun. There's none of these death marches, none of this, oh, it's 0 degrees, none of that. Last thing I wanted to do was ruin him because I thought it was all about me. When you decide you're bringing a kid with you, this is a day about them. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Do I think application numbers will decline this year in Colorado first rifle because of the price increase? Yes, I do, Brent. Last year you could get into Colorado for nothing more than a song and a prayer. Now this year it's $100 to just throw your name in the hat. I think Colorado is going to see a huge drop off in applicants this year. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. Someone's asking. Mike asked, Randy, is there a training regimen you follow before hunting season? Yep. I have a Forest Service trailhead about a mile from my house. I block out a 2-hour hike every day. I treat it like an appointment on my calendar. Go down there, put my Canatrex on, grab my trekking pole, load up my mystery ranch, and gain a couple thousand feet elevation. If I'm looking for cardio, I'll just increase the pace. If I'm looking for core strengthening, I'll put more weight in my pack, and I'll go off trail more. So you can get a lot done with nothing more than a Forest Service trail. And that, I'm not a gym rat. I mean, look at me. I'm 54. I'm flabby. I'm out of shape. But I still go elk hunting. It's just get yourself in the same condition, tone the same muscles you're going to use when you're elk hunting. And I've found nothing that does that better than hiking in the elk woods with a pack on your back, just like you're going to be doing for miles and miles, day after day, when you're out elk hunting. Now, I'm sure there's somebody watching who's probably a fitness expert who's going to say, hold on, don't listen to that guy. He's an idiot. I'm just telling you what I do. Jason asked, what is the release date of the Sitka Blacktail film that you produced? It will premiere at the BHA Rendezvous in Boise on May, whatever that Friday or Saturday is, 2nd or 3rd, I think. And then that Sunday, it's going to release on all of our digital platforms. And then there's a conservation summit here in Bozeman with 2% for conservation. They're hosting that June 20th, I think, 19th or 20th. There will be an exclusive premiere of it here in Bozeman then. And we have a marketing plan to push it out there, but it's a really cool story. It mixes hunting, science, research, funding, and conservation and food all in one piece. How these guys did that in 20 minutes of film, I don't know, but they did a great job. Let's see. How heavy is my pack? I don't know. I'd say my day pack when I leave the truck is 30 pounds probably, with spotting, scope, food, extra clothes, all that. Add a rifle and scope and ammo. Yeah, something like that. Depends. Not nearly as much in warm weather as it is in cold weather. Cold weather, I'm carrying extra stuff. I carry a lot of water. I'm a swamp hog, water hog, whatever you want to call it. I got to stay hydrated. Let's see. What do you put in your pack for a day hunt? We've done bag dumps on that out on our YouTube channel. This year we have on our production list that we're going to do more bag dumps because so many people ask this question. What's in your pack? What's in your pack? Well, We're going to start doing a lot of videos about that. Nathan says, Randy, you have to do at least one turkey hunt on a video. I've done one. It's out on our YouTube channel, On Your Own Adventures, Season 1. I'm the worst turkey hunter in the world. That's why I send Marcus and Michael to go do the turkey hunting. They love it. They're good at it. So, and I'm busy keeping the operation afloat at that time. Dave says, Randy, asked my wife where she wanted to go on vacation with her friends after listening to your podcast with the other 3 wives who were your guests. Thanks for the mentoring. Hey, Dave, you're taking good notes. We did a podcast that released the other day, Hunt Talk Radio. I think it was episode 103 or 105, called Marital Advice version 2.0, The Wives Perspective. I had Jennifer, Morgan, and Hillary. And we went for 2.5 hours. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did we talk that long? Well, we did. So glad people found it helpful. What's in your first aid kit? A lot. I should bring my Adventure Medical Kit's first aid kit here and just open it up next time. Too many things to go over here. Someone said, Sebastian asked, what are the difference between elky areas and muley areas? Lots. Sometimes there's no difference, but usually there's a lot. Elk are grazers as a general rule. Mule deer are browsers. So when they're feeding, elk are looking for grasses and forbs. Deer are looking for shrubs and browse. And a lot of times those don't grow in the same places. So just that, the fact that they eat such different things most of the year, puts them in different locations. So I know that answers the question, but that's the way I look at it. How close do you camp to the place you hunt elk? Again, we covered that in the podcast, but I'm usually going to be at least 1.5 miles to 2 miles between my camp and where I plan on hunting. Not always, but usually. I mean, if you've done all this e-scouting, all this research, boots on the ground scouting, and you're like, wow, there's elk in there. The last thing you want to do is go camp in there because your noise, your smell, your human activity, they're so tuned in, they know that in a heartbeat. I mean, think about it. They spend every day of their life out in the woods. And say this is a September spot or an October spot, they've probably spent the last 5 months in that general area. And if some people show up and throw up a camp and start talking and making noise and the thermals bring scent up to them, they know it. The gig is up. So I'm at least 1 mile, usually 1.5 miles to 2 miles from where I'm going to be hunting. So. Randy, do you feel like discrimination against non-residents is rising in the West? No. I think it's always been that way. Non-residents end up paying higher fees for a lower percentage of the tags. I mean, I'm a non-resident in 49 other states. It's always been that way. I know some people don't like it, and I wish it wasn't to the degree that it is. But you have some states like Colorado and Wyoming who are super generous to non-residents. They're giving non-residents anywhere from 15 to 30% of the tags, depending on the species in the unit. And yeah, pricing is disproportionate, but it is what it is. It's always been disproportionate. You go back as far as you can, and you're going to find where non-residents have always paid way more than residents. It just how it is. I look at what an Iowa resident pays for a whitetail versus what I'm going to pay. Because I've got 8 points, I think, in Iowa. Huge disproportionate balance. And it's how they fund their game agencies. So I wish there was enough to go around for everybody, but it's not the case. I noticed the new office is still bare. We got to work on that. Who are we going to put in charge of that, Kyler?
We're kind of enjoying the fact that we could green screen the background.
Oh, they like being able to green screen the background, is what he says. I've been too busy. I mean, the only thing I'm going to be able to put up there is some tan bear hides and beaver hides, and I got a whole floor full of European deer skulls over there. At home, I got a whole table full of European antelope skulls. I don't know what I'm going to do. I better get with the program. Let's see. What is your strategy for early September when it's really hot and the elk aren't very active? Hunt as much as you can early in the morning and as much as you can late in the evening, because those are those periods where they are going to be active, and take advantage of that. If you're in a place where water's a scarcity, know that they're going to go and drink more. I wish there was an easy way around that, but that is one of the hardest times to hunt also. Of all of September, you get one of those hot full moon phases, whew, that's hard hunting. The elk are still there. It just, you almost wouldn't think that they are there. Randy, have you heard that the New Mexico governor is asking the Game and Fish commissioners to step down? Samuel, I've heard that, and it's unfortunate. You've heard me say it on so many of my podcasts. Hunting is getting drawn in. All of our issues are being pulled over into the political arena. And people say, Newberg, you're pretty active politically. Yeah, I want to. If the game's being played over in the political world, I'm going to be there with my loud mouth and my platforms trying to be one of the people playing in the game. I hate it. I wish it used to be, if you go back to the history, back in the 70s, your game and fish commissions hired your directors. And the idea was to isolate and insulate that from the political process. Well, state legislatures and governors are like, no, we want those people working for us. So in the 80s and 90s, they brought all of those agency directors, all those agency commissioners into the political process. And so you get stuff like going on in New Mexico. And usually it is never beneficial for wildlife or conservation. So those of you who are thinking about getting a PhD in wildlife management, I got a shortcut for you. Get elected to your state legislature, and automatically you become a PhD in wildlife management. And now, some of my people I know who are state legislators are going to call me up and say, Newberg, quit being such a smart aleck. Well, you stay out of wildlife issues and I'll quit picking on you. Jeffrey, do you need a nurse on your hunting team? You know, there's days I do. And some of you who watch our content know that I have a blood clotting problem that has ruined all the plumbing in my liver. So I got a serious liver disorder, and it could be tough. Hey, Mitch, he's asking, should I apply for Nevada? If you don't apply for Nevada, Mitch, I'm not answering any more of your questions. Nevada's deadline is April 29th, and everyone knows I'm partial to Nevada. There is not a bad deer hunt in Nevada. Yeah, elk tags are hard to draw. It's just, when we did that the other day, we counted there were 225 non-resident elk tags between rifle, archery, and muzzleloader. And the reason there's so much demand for them is because there is not a bad hunt in Nevada. None. Zero. If you said, well, Randy, this is the lowest quality elk hunt in Nevada, you can have one of those tags, I would be out dancing in the streets. There are no bad hunts there. So, Mitch, if you don't apply in Nevada, don't bother checking in. All right, someone says, what are you saying?
There's another Dairy Queen update.
Oh, you got to quit with the Dairy Queen updates. People said lay off the Dairy Queen, so. Let's see. What do we got here? We got a lot coming through on Instagram.
The comments have been weird. They've been repeating themselves.
Let's see. Thoughts on elk decoys, good, bad, or ugly? You know, I've not used them much. I have some from Montana Decoy Company, and I've got friends who use those Montana decoys, and they do fantastic with them. I'll be honest, we're already carrying so much production gear and microphones and spare cameras and everything else. The last thing I do is carry another piece of gear with me. That might be a mistake. I mean, I might be missing out. But I don't use one. But my friends who use them, they do, and they swear by the Montana Decoy one. Jonathan says, "Hey Randy, I promise you there are no elk in Nevada. None. Nope. Don't look. Nothing to see here. Move along. Move along." Paul says he's an ED trauma nurse. Sounds like we need to get some of these folks on our team here so that I don't have another fit. If you watched our Dall sheep hunt and the day-by-day Dall sheep hunt we did in Alaska last year, it was 10 days, hiked in 13 miles with heavy loads, and I was already feeling poorly. My liver was just killing me, and it was bad. I'm sure between Marcus, the camera guy, and the packers we had with us, I don't remember a lot of it. It's on the days I get really bad, but they said they were concerned. So maybe we need to bring a nurse with us. Randy, thanks for the update on the Dairy Queen in Williams, Arizona. Still closed. Dang it. I don't know what to do about those guys. Mike says, "Randy, I love your political attitude." I'm glad you do, Mike, because there's a lot of people who hate it. Every politician is fair game to me. I don't have any use for political parties or any of that. I'm the party of hunting, fishing, and public access. And if you're for it, I'm with you. And when you're against it, I'm against you. It's just that simple. And in today's world, it's so liberating to not care anything about parties or hurt feelings. So, Mike, I'm glad you like it. Hopefully some other people like it and they'll quit sending me this hate mail where they're going to come and thump on me or something. If some of you people read my emails, you'd laugh. Randy, are you and Corey hunting together this year? Yep, Corey Jacobson, Donnie Drake, and I are doing a Montana November rifle elk hunt. Corey said, "Randy, I want to come and do one of these post-rut or late season hunts." So the real issue is Montana's elk drawing has gotten harder and harder every year. And Corey and Donnie don't have any preference points. So their draw odds are like 50% one way or the other. So we say we're going to go, but maybe we're not. If they don't draw, I guess we're not going to go. But we have that planned. We're taking llamas. Matt Seidel from Onyx Maps is going to join us. So it's going to be me, Corey, Matt, Donnie, Bo, our buddy with the llamas, and one or two camera guys. And we're going way back in the middle of nowhere. Freeze our butts off probably. And have more fun than should be allowed under law. All on the great public lands of America. Let's see. Patrick says, "Randy, I enjoy the fact that all your episodes don't end with a perfect hunt with a monster. Just real live stuff." Patrick, I am so below average, okay? People who hunt with us, I'm sure, are like, how did this guy end up with a TV show or a YouTube and Amazon channel? He's like, he's got to work hard at this. He's like B League. I'm below B League. So our whole premise of everything we produce is whatever happened, that's what you get to see. And back when I was producing TV, I would send in these episodes that didn't have a kill shot at the end. And people would be like, how can you do that? And the industry experts. I'm like, well, that's what happened. What do you want me to lie about it? You know, want me to make something up? No. So if we don't get one, that's what you get to see. I'm sorry. We're not the pros. We're just guys out having fun, trying our best. Randy, are you going to Wyoming with what's it say? Jerry Pritchard. No, No, I don't think. Yeah, we won't be in Wyoming. Jerry's applying. He and I are gonna apply for cows deer in Arizona this year. So we'll be doing that. He's doing great. Let's see. Boy, these scroll through here so fast that late season New Mexico Christmas Bowl strategy besides sanctuary. Food. Find the best food, because at that time of year in New Mexico, your food sources are drying up and they're looking for the best food source near a sanctuary. So, Richard says, hey Randy, I'm going to my first archery elk hunt this year in Wyoming and want to get better with my elk bugle and cow call. Should I look into Elk 101 with your buddy Corey? That's what I'd do. He's got it dialed in. He's got a University of Elk hunting course. He's the man. Don't, whatever Randy does, do the opposite with the bugle. No, not really. Corey's taught me a lot. I'm thankful for his patience. And his dad, Rocky, who owns Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, Rocky, he set me down a path that has been so helpful. And Rocky, he's probably not listening, but he's so patient with people. He's trying to get me to use these cow calls he's making. Try this one, try that one. And he's like, open your mouth. So I open my mouth, and I'm like him at the dentist's office. He's like, oh, you got one of those great big Scandinavian palates. I'm like, well, what does that mean? He said, you got a big, tall, flat mouth. Try this one. And it's the whole idea was trying different calls to get a better seal on the top of your mouth, because that's where you can control the airflow with your tongue pressure. And whew, whoa, he's like, problem solved. So, Rocky, I owe you. And thanks for giving me about 20 of those calls when I left the shop that day. But Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, amazing calls. They're way better than I'll ever be. Rocky, the guy who designed them, Corey and others who, Steve, all those guys Christy, who give them input, are some amazing elk callers. And use promo code Randy and save 15% when you go to RockyMountainHuntingCalls.com and buy some. Let's see. What is that? Hey Randy, are you going to name another llama at the BHA Rendezvous this year? I don't think they're going to name another one, but I think Bo's going to be there. I don't know if he's bringing llamas or not. I'm going to be there. Let's see. What's all this talk about a couch? There's a conversation going on here, like someone's buying a couch from me or something. I'm like, don't get that. How soon will mule deer come back into a burned area after it burns? Very quickly. You'd be very surprised. I mean, very surprised. Because a lot of times the first thing that comes up aren't necessarily the grasses, but the forbs. And both elk and mule deer love forbs. Yeah. Have I ever hunted Washington State, or do I have any plans to? No, I have not hunted Washington State. And as long as we're doing the platform stuff here, all this sharing content and trying to show people where you can go hunt, odds are we won't be in Washington. And there's great hunting to be there, or to be had there. But the reason we don't is, one, it's relative to other Western states, the opportunity and the crowding and everything else, the price, just shorter seasons don't make as good of a mix as what you can get in the other Rocky Mountain states. So a lot of our audience is coming from the Midwest or the South or Texas or wherever, the upper Midwest. It's hard to tell them, yeah, drive through Montana and Idaho or Wyoming or wherever to go to Washington. So that's why we don't end up doing much. We'll probably never do anything in California. Probably won't ever do anything in Washington. And Washington, we might end up there for Roosevelt elk someday, or for Columbia blacktails. But that's kind of, yeah, I'm just being honest. Our platforms are to show people, here are places where you can go and have a high quality experience on public lands. So, what's the best state for a first time moose hunt? In the lower 48 for Shiras moose, absolute slam dunk, no brainer, Idaho. There's no point system. And in Idaho, you have to pick if you want to apply for moose. If you do that, you can't apply for anything else. If you want to apply for goat, you can't apply for anything else. If you want to apply for sheep, you can't apply for anything else. So a lot of people say, I want to apply for other things, so they don't apply for moose. So the draw odds for moose in Idaho are the best in the West by far, and they got big moose in Idaho. But it's going to cost you quite a bit of money. So let's see. When is the Randy Newberg Howa rifle coming out? You know, it's funny. We were just swapping emails with Howa today about this project. We're working on it. You know, last year I did all kinds of different this, different that, this, that, change it, and so we're narrowing it down. We'll. I need to talk to them and find out exactly what the scheduled release date is, but we haven't forgotten about it. I know they haven't, because Andy down there emails me a couple times a week asking me about it. What else we got, Kyler? We got anything from the Instagram crowd, or?
Instagram has caught on to the couch as well.
Okay. I don't know what the couch gig is that's going on here, but we're going to start deleting anything that says couch. Slim asks, Randy, any sheep tags yet this year? Whew, don't I wish. I apply for sheep in New Mexico, Colorado, do the Desert Bighorn, Arizona, Nevada, Montana. So there's 5 states I apply for sheep in, but, well, I'm unfortunately probably never going to draw. But I try hard. Am I going to buy some llamas from Bo? If I could convince my wife to do it, I surely would do it. Dan says, Randy, your rifle should have a Howa Leupold package deal. Man, you been reading my mail, Dan? That's part of the idea behind it. So, I better shut up before I say something I'm not allowed to say. This is an interesting one. Trey asks, Randy, I hear almost every Western elk hunter that I watch on YouTube mentions north-facing slopes as places to look for elk. But in your videos, I rarely hear you mention it. I'm from Missouri with almost no Western hunting experience. Help me understand north-facing slopes. Well, it depends on the time of the year. North-facing slopes, as a general rule, have almost no food. They have great bedding cover. They're usually going to be thick timber. So in places with high pressure, elk will go to the fringes of that to bed during the day. But if you have a huge, big, long, north-running ridge that's 2,000 feet vertical and 2 miles long, you're not going to have a lot of elk in there. Even though there are some elk in there, the elk densities are really low. And they're hard to hunt and they're hard to find. So that's why I don't hunt just pure north-facing slopes. Now, if there's a little roll that goes to the north, and then it kind of comes back and runs more north and has an east face to it, I might look in some of those places because there's going to be feed out here, and then they'll go to bed there. So I might look in there, but I don't. This is just my own personal experience. I think the whole north-facing slope thing is way overrated. The elk densities are so low. Maybe in archery season, it's a good time because it's usually hotter, temperature-wise there, and during the rut, the elk are more active, so they need the coolness of the north-facing slopes. Other than that, I'm thinking that, nah, not necessary. So, well, it looks like we're probably going to shut it down since we got a bunch of smartasses here doing stuff about a couch. I'm really tired about this whole couch stuff, so I don't know how it all got started, but pretty sure, we got a bunch of spammers is what that is. Huh. I clicked on a couple of them. Well, we'll go block all those people. That's easy enough. So, yeah. Oh, wow. If you type something about a couch in here, you're going to get blocked from the channel. Sorry. But we'll fix that tomorrow. Anyhow, how long have we been here? Been here for a little over an hour. And so Tim says, Randy, there was a forest fire within a couple miles of where I hunt in southwest Montana last fall. Do you think it will pull elk away from us in September? I don't know if away from you means you're near there or towards there, but if you have elk or have a burn, yeah, you should be hunting that next fall. It'll be attracting elk. So if you're not near there, it might pull elk towards that burn. I'd go hunt somewhere near that burn. It'd be a great food source in September. Because remember, in September, the number one priority is breeding. Well, to have breeding, you got to have cows. And what are the cows looking for? The cows are looking for the best possible feed. That's what cows are always looking for. So in September, find the best feed. You have a greater likelihood of finding a lot of cows. Find a lot of cows, you probably find a lot of bulls. So that's what I would do. Well, you got any last one? What do you think of that? Got anything there, Kyler? Because
Instagram went kaput.
well, Instagram, we clocked out on Instagram, huh? All right, so do I apply for Pennsylvania elk? Yes, I do, Keith, but never. I don't think the odds are very high. Dan asks, Randy, what about hunting a burn area versus a timbered cut area? They're both about the same in my mind. Probably a burn area comes back a little quicker, puts more nutrients in the soil faster than a timbered or thinned area. They're both good, but I'm going to hunt a burn over a mechanically treated logged area. So, Zach wants to know, Randy, when are you coming out to Oregon to hunt a Rosie? Zach, when are you going to invite me, man? I've been waiting for the invite. Zach, he shoots these really big Roosevelt elk with his bow, and he makes it sound like, nothing to it. And then whenever I'm kind of jonesing for an invite, he's too busy or he's taking important people with him. So I get it. I understand. So, well, I think we're going to check out here, don't you, Kyler? You got any last things we want to say?
I took the live stream.
All right, we're done?
Comments?
Okay, let me see if we got a live stream comment here. Oh, Randy, what organization should us hunters support to protect us? Boy, there's a lot of good ones out there. I belong to so many of them. I would say take what your passion is and definitely support that. So if you're an elk hunter like I am, support the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. If you're a duck hunter, support Ducks Unlimited. If you're a turkey hunter, support Wild Turkey Federation. There's a bunch of them that protect public lands. There's a bunch of them that protect just hunting in general. So whatever you do as much as you can is what I say. So I want to thank everybody who makes this possible. Bowtech, Leupold, Onyx, Go Hunt, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, Tight Spot, Ripcord, Black Gold, all of them. One thing. If you want to get notified about this, text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 64600, and you'll be set to go. So with that, we're going to call it a week. Appreciate it. I'm on the road next Wednesday, so we're going to have to skip a week, but we'll be after it the week after that. So thanks for watching. Thanks for joining in. Happy hunting. Hope you draw a lot of tags. We got it, Kyler?
We got it.
All right.